All right, got a new video. Okay, what am I gonna call this? The three loves of Hunchback? No, because lust isn't love, and neither is infatuation. The three romances of Hunchback and Notre? No, that doesn't work either. Lust isn't romantic, and neither is infatuation. Dang it! Okay, Google, I need your help. Attractions. That's the word I was looking for. Oh my gosh. English is really hard, you guys. I'm going to start this video with this. I love Hunchback of Notre Dame. Like, it's a problem. You thought my adoration with Undertale was bad? Oh boy, I could make 10 videos on this one story and still have more to say. I just freaking love this musical. So much so that I have seen the Disney animated musical as well as the staged musical a lot. But all of the stuff I'm talking about today are going to be from both, especially the staged musical. So if you haven't seen it, give yourself a treat by watching it. I will link the YouTube video in the description below. Already watched it? Perfect. Then let's begin. If you still haven't seen Hunchback, then let me break it down for y'all. At its core, Hunchback of Notre Dame is a story about attraction. You've got this very attractive and awesome woman that gets three different guys to fall for her in three different ways. These ways are love, lust, and infatuation, with the characters Phoebus, Frollo, and Quasimodo expressing each of these attractions respectfully. I want to go through each of these, starting with the objective worst and moving on to the objective best. So let's begin with Father Claude Frollo and his personal hellfire. Frollo is a very interesting character and is quite different from the stage musical and the Disney film. Watch Schifferless's video to learn more. In the movie, he starts off really creepy and seductive. He sneaks up on Esmeralda to sniff her hair and is just being really gross. Right off the bat, we can see Frollo is being attracted to Esmeralda, not by who she is as a person, but by how pretty her face is, or how soft and nice-smelling hair she can have, I guess. In the musical, Frollo's early lust begins a little different, but fundamentally the same. In the musical, Frollo tries to get Esmeralda to stay at the cathedral so that he can instruct her on repentance. Alright, whatever you say, mate, but I got my eyes on you. Esmeralda then does something really interesting. She tells him it's not a good idea. Why? Because she sees the way he looks at her and knows it's wrong. Pulling more at this idea that there's something beneath the surface with Frollo, in the next part of the play, he is hearing whispers of her name in his head. Esmeralda is constantly on Frollo's mind and not in a good way. He becomes obsessed, trying to find her to see her again. My guy, I'm not buying any of this. After finally seeing her again from a distance, he goes into hellfire. When he sees her, though, he says this: "I cannot bear to watch, and yet I cannot turn away." I really like that line. He knows it's wrong how he feels about Esmeralda, but he isn't trying to do something about it. And in Hellfire, that is very, very clear. Frollo sings about how Esmeralda has been eating away at him from the inside, but instead of taking responsibility and seeing a therapist, he just says that Esmeralda has put a spell on him. The only way to fix it is for Esmeralda to burn, or for her to be his and his alone. He wants Esmeralda, but not the person Esmeralda. A hollow, very attractive shell would do perfectly fine, but only if they looked like Esmeralda. And we can see how this line of thinking is dangerous, because, well, Frollo tries to force himself into a relationship, burns down half of Paris, and kills Esmeralda. From Hunchback and the character Frollo, we can learn that lust will always lead to dead ends. Either the person that is lusting after someone else ends up with nothing, or they end up doing terrible things they would never usually do. And while the next step towards love is better, it still is not healthy. Okay, I absolutely love Quasimodo's character in the play. He surprisingly has a lot more characterization than the movie, which allows him to fulfill an entirely new role, that is one of infatuation. Esmeralda is the first and pretty much only person to show him genuine sympathy. Frollo either doesn't care or comes off as very aggressive and prideful. Esmeralda, on the other hand, actually gives him the time of day for him to talk about, well, anything. She gets over her acrophobia to have a nice bonding moment with Quasi and learns about what being a bell ringer in Notre Dame is like. But then we get a problem. Because Esmeralda is the only person to care about Quasi, he immediately attaches himself to her and thinks that they are destined to be together. He expresses this twice, both in the song Heaven's Light and in Flight into Egypt. Heaven's Light is really good at establishing both Quasi as a character and what he wants with regards to Esmeralda. He notices that people in genuine love for each other are brighter and happier. People who have someone they can care about have this all-encompassing light about them that makes you want to be around them. Quasi notices this as a very good thing and wants it, which, there's absolutely no problem with. The problem starts to show its mildly ugly face near the end of the song when Quasi says,
I dare to dream that she might even care for me, and as I ring the bells tonight, my cold dark tower seems so bright. I swear it must be heaven's light.
At face value, this isn't awful or evil. I mean, the very next song right after this is Hellfire. But when you look at this and Flight into Egypt, it takes on an entirely different meaning. Flight into Egypt is the first song in this list that isn't in the Disney film, and it's fantastic. I love it. But it does add a very interesting dynamic to Quasi's character that wasn't in the film. In the song, he relates his story and trying to save Esmeralda from Frollo to the story of Jesus when his mother Mary and his surrogate father Joseph were commanded to escape into Egypt to avoid being killed by King Herod because the king heard the prophecy that Jesus would be known as the King of Kings, and so he was a salty teenage girl and killed every baby boy in Bethlehem in order to try and keep his crown, even though he still would have remained king. Yay, Bible stuff. But when he's finally convinced by this headless stained glass painting to go save Esmeralda from her impending doom, he says this.
Just like the angel who warned Joseph he must flee, I'll warn Esmeralda, her angel will be me. I'll give her sanctuary, somewhere safe guide, protected at my side, a little like a bride.
Ooh, you sly, sly dog, Quasi. Alright, let's break this down. The angel Quasi's talking about is, I want to say Gabriel, who talked with Joseph and Mary about Jesus in the first place, but I don't remember exactly which one it was. Anyways, in a dream, Joseph was told by an angel that Herod was about to kill Jesus and he should get to Egypt for safety. Quasi, in saying that he'll save Esmeralda, much like that angel, wants to be seen as a hero and savior, kind of like Loki at the end of Thor Ragnarok. That's not super bad in and of itself, but the next few lines really don't help. I'll give her sanctuary somewhere safe to hide. Again, he wants Esmeralda to see him as a hero and protect her safety. But the last two really put the nail in the coffin. Protected at my side, a little like a bride. Oh boy. Quasimodo is completely infatuated by Esmeralda and wants to be seen as a hero in her eyes. He sees her as a damsel in distress when she can take care of herself. She's hidden away safely, and it's actually because of Quasimodo that Esmeralda is captured and killed. Quasi wants to get with Esmeralda romantically, but all he can focus on is being her hero and saving the beautiful princess and stuff. Quasi's most heroic action is actually after he has accepted Esmeralda as a friend and nothing more, when he protects her from the soldiers and from Frollo by throwing him off the side of Notre Dame. Kind of overkill, but it works. Quasimodo shows that being infatuated by someone else while not being as outright destructive as lust is still unhealthy. Being completely infatuated by someone means that you are putting almost all of your attention and energy into that person. And if it doesn't work out, you're left with basically nothing, which is exactly what happened to Quasimodo when he learned that Esmeralda loved Phoebus and wanted to be with him instead of her quote-unquote angel, which is a really great transition to our final and best example of attraction, Phoebus de Martin. Phoebus is interesting to talk about. To people who have only seen the Disney film, he's kind of your average quipster, hunky hero who gets the girl in the end. He's got a heart of gold and isn't afraid to put idiots in their place. But in the play, he's a lot more than that. His horrors of war and PTSD is explored pretty well, and the relationship dynamic with Esmeralda is fleshed out so much better. Phoebus and Esmeralda see each other as equals and do their best to bring the other person up. They fall for each other's talents and personality rather than very simple physical features or just being a decent person. Esmeralda falls for Phoebus because he sticks with his morals and doesn't just blindly follow orders like most other soldiers. He's his own person. But more than that, he's had to work hard for his achievements. When they first meet, Esmeralda could immediately see that Phoebus came from nothing, and he's worked with the pigs. Even when he was a soldier, he had to bury his dead comrades from the horrors of war. She sees a lot in him, and Phoebus sees a lot in Esmeralda as well. She is very talented and passionate about dancing and won't take kindly to oppression. She comes from nothing and has done everything she can to build herself to the person she is today. She is kind, witty, and clever, and she is too stubborn to take no for an answer. These two see each other as equals, but know that they can live without the other person. There's a quote from Cinema Therapy, which if you like this, you should totally check out, where Jonathan says, talking about romantic relationships, "You supplement me." Phoebus can live without Esmeralda, and Esmeralda likewise can live without him. But they make the other person's life much better and make that other person happier when they're together. The biggest moment in the show when this is very apparent is in Someday. Guys, this song is gorgeous. If you haven't heard this song before, do yourself a favor and listen to it right now. Please. Even if you don't want to watch the entire show, please listen to this song. It encapsulates the entire message of the story of Hunchback really, really well. Please! Esmeralda and Phoebus are in prison and are about to break into song. This is Esmeralda's song. It takes everything she has suffered through and puts it into one heartbreakingly hopeful ballad. Phoebus lets her take all of her emotions out. He lets her express who she is before joining in where he is needed. He expresses the same desires and shows that the two are equals, wanting to achieve the same goal. If that isn't love, true compassionate love, then I don't know what is. All in all, Hunchback of Notre Dame is not only a story about hope for the outcasts, but a story of attraction, one where lust burns in the fires of hell, infatuation grows out of its flaws to become something else entirely, and love truly conquers all. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you want to see me lose my mind by making 20 more analysis videos on Hunchback, then smash those like and subscribe buttons. I will see you all next week for another video. Until next time.